What's up, everyone? This is your host, Stefany Sweet, and you are tuned in to another episode of the GrownupIsh Podcast. Welcome, guys. And I'm back again with Nia.
Hey, y'all, we back.
How you doing, honey?
I am good. How are you?
Right. I'm good. It's been a good week, a positive week. I've been productive.
I was going to say productive.
Yeah, I've been doing what I need to do, staying on task, and
that energy. So
I'm
I'm
gonna
going
put
to
it
do
your
the
way.
same.
Yeah. I'm gonna send it your
I
way.
had a good week. I was not as productive as I could be, but I set new goals for the week. New goals.
Well, one thing we all know, tomorrow is a new day, right?
Yes,
or
indeed.
Each day is a new day. We can start over fresh.
Exactly.
So remember that, guys. Don't beat yourself up.
Oh, no. Done.
She's
done now.
Moving on.
Done.
Moving on to bigger and better things. Well, let's go ahead and get into the episode. This week, we're asking the question, are your parents toxic?
Absolutely. But it's all good, though. We're going to get into that.
Point blank, period.
Yes.
Well, mine, not so much. I mean, my dad had some tendencies. He was a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great parental unit. Or my dad passed away, but overall he was a good parent. He was a good parent.
Well, first let's get into the foundation that the parents laid for us.
Right. Because
let's get into that.
We all our parents, right? They're the first ones to show us like what love is.
Mm-hmm.
They're teaching us what love is. We're experiencing that directly from them to begin with, and we see it between them. Like if you're lucky enough to have two parents in your household, their interactions with each other, and then their interactions with us, and that's like the foundation.
It is
that, as far as how we then as human beings and children and growing up to be adults like interpret love or experience love and what we consider love to be, right?
Exactly.
And we go out onto the world and deal with society, we take that on too. And so if I think our upbringing was good and our first understanding of what love is good, then
ideally
traditionally right, we would have good habits of receiving and giving love. But if that's not the case,
it's a little bit more of a challenge.
A little tricky.
So you got a little bit more do I want to say adversity?
Yeah. Obstacles that you gotta navigate through.
But you can still love though. You can still do it in a healthy way, give and receive. It's just different paths, which is what I think is going to be really enjoyable about today's episode, is that we are going to be able to provide different views and outlooks on how our relationship with our parents have
transformed and impacted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like so okay, we already know Nia thinks her parents
struggle bus over here. Hey, I had this guy that I'm talking to. He was like, "Oh, poor baby. you got mama and daddy issues,
not just daddy issues."
I'm a unique case, okay? Somebody out there.
Well, actually, right, exactly. Honestly, you're not a unique case, because it's like, believe it, more times than not, there are broken households all up and through. I have friends that were raised. For the most part, most of my friends had two parents households, but like I know people that were in situations where they only had one parent, or sometimes in some cases not even both parents, because it's just situations were difficult. And even for myself, like my mom has always been around. My dad growing up, he was around. But at one point I lived with family, right?
Yeah.
And thankfully they were great, but they weren't my biological parents. But I lived with my family, with my aunt and uncle for a while, and they were great. And then I moved and lived with my mom. So it was a different dynamic, but never did I think, oh, my mom doesn't love me.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't care about me, because she was constantly around, constantly there, always supportive and stuff. I was blessed to have that experience, but not everybody has that.
No, I was raised by my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. Let me stop shaking. My mom and dad were both there. Like, they were in the same city as me, so it wasn't like my parents weren't around. My mom, she came from a traumatic childhood, which there impacted her, because this is all generational stuff, especially on my mom's side. She doesn't
do it.
Yeah, she doesn't have a healthy relationship with her mom. That's a very toxic situation. So then I'm her fourth child. I'm her first baby girl. And you have your own trauma, your own issues. You had a rough. You don't know how to, properly love this little girl. And don't get me wrong, my mom did try. I'm not going to take that away from her. She did what she thought was best. But she just did not have the proper tools to be a mom for me. And then my dad, on the other hand, I came right before he turned 18. Through discussions with my mom, I've learned more about him, because I like to analyze everybody. I've been analyzing everybody since I was old enough to think and process stuff.
Right.
So I've analyzed them over the years. Even as a child, like, I was watching my parents, and I'm like, okay, this is how I'm going to have to play these games with them. So my dad,
so you was plotting.
Oh yeah, I had to move right, because my dad was immature. He also had some hurt, because I was his first child, but I really wasn't his first child. Women, y'all be messing these men up sometimes. We gotta get to that later too. So I was technically the first child that a woman said, yes, this is your child. But because there was another baby around that he was told was not his, that hurt him. So now his intentions were good.
Definitely traumatic.
Yes, very traumatic. So they both had a lot of trauma going on, and now there's this little bundle of joy here, and we're not ready to handle it. So that's when my grandma stepped in, and she has raised me since I was like 3 months old. So my parents have been around, and I have a lot of interesting stories about them, and I do love them. But mine is not. It's not that perfect, like, healthy relationship. Like, right now, I could call my mom or my dad, and we have not very much to talk about. It's just like, oh, how you doing?
Is it like awkward?
Kinda. Because they don't know me, and I don't know them, and now I'm 30 years old, and we don't know each other. We don't have any type of real relationship.
Did you try, or you said your mom would, try to be as good of a parent as she could and whatnot, but like, you feel like each one of them attempted to like have some sort of like relationship with you? And
so growing up, my mom's approach to relationships was like buying stuff. So like my mom, she tried to buy me the world. That was her thing,
as compensation.
Yeah, I remember going like shoe shopping, and we're gonna go get some shoes, or we're gonna go get, like, she was always trying to compensate through purchases. Or I gotta give you a birthday card. To this day, she still does it. I don't think she realized she does it. Ooh, I didn't think her Christmas money.
Look at you.
My dad. But like, she'll still send something, for Christmas. It's cash at me something, or like, that's how she has. I think that's the only way she knows how to show love. I think that's the only way she knows. And then my dad, on the other hand, when I was younger, because my dad got a lot of kids. He's a Rolling Stone. So
Daddy was
exactly. I was a Rolling Stone. That's my dad. That is my dad to the T. So there's a lot of us, and when we were younger, he did try more, but again, he kept getting so much pushback from the moms. And I'm not going to blame the women, because he also could have stepped into the plate and continued to fight to see his kids. And in my case, he had no excuse. I'm with your mother. I'm right there. So he just left well enough alone. I don't really know. I haven't really talked to him about why he kind of just stepped back. Yeah, and fell off the picture. But like, when I was younger, he would come get me. And he would I was like a daddy's girl. We'd go and go kick it and ride around his car and go see his people or whatever female he was dealing with.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, then my grandma had to admit that and be like, yeah, you're not going to be taking my baby on your little whole venture.
Right.
It's not what you're going to do with your child.
Oh, look at my cute child.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so he had his moments, but yeah, as I got older and kind of, you hit that teenage year where you start to develop your own
thoughts and
you're not with your parents like that. So that really shifted us apart because whereas with you, even through your teenage years, your mom's there. She's with all of that. She's seen you grow. She's there for those discussions. I had my grandma for that, but that's where I feel like the disconnect completely happened. Where like they just do not know me. I just came with another story. I have so many stories. I'm gonna let you pick which story you want to hear.
No, it's not. I mean,
when we get to Classy Ratchet and Real, y'all.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you pick which one you want to hear.
Yeah, but my mom, like I said, my dad passed away when I was 12. So prior to that, I mean, he was definitely around. He was a good supporter of the family and all of that. He had his toxic ways, He wasn't like the best husband per se, but he was definitely an amazing dad where he always provided and always was there, right?
Yeah.
And my mom, like, the same. She was always around, always there. And when we moved out here, we became even closer. Like she was, like when you think about somebody who's like always gonna have your back, like no matter what, ride or die, like that's mom.
Yeah. That's my grandma. I know I be trying her.
Yeah.
At this point in my existence, this is trying her nerves. Like I'm a Scorpio, my grandma's a Gemini, and I know I just be pinching her nerves.
Right.
She do me too. We like
each other.
That's my girl, that's my girl.
But isn't that family though? That's part of the family, and that's part of the love and trying to, because you're not gonna get another set of
that's it.
Parents or siblings or if grandmother, if you still have you're lucky enough to have them alive, you're not gonna get another set. So like the interactions that you have with them, that's it. That's all. That's all you get. So you got to try to make the best of it. Although sometimes it'd be rough, man. It'd be tricky and rough. And I've been thankfully, like I said, my mom, she's just like very solid, and we went through like tough times, and where she's by herself, single parent, trying to provide for 2 kids, and working 2-3 jobs, and but she always just showed us love, always provided. I don't know how she made it. Like she made it work, and she's just always been awesome.
Like a black mama, man.
Okay, the strength. Like when I think of like strength, it's her. It's my grandmother. It's like I stand on their shoulders. Like legit, I stand on her shoulders.
I'm still in amazement and awe of just watching my grandma, and honestly, even just watching my mom. Because sometimes, I don't think I give her enough credit, or I don't even think she gives herself enough credit. Of the fact that it may not have been what she wanted or what she pictured her life being, but I will say that my mom made the best with what she could do. And all of us, I have 3 older brothers, and then there's 2 underneath me. So
you got a big family,
yeah, there's 6 of us in total, and I had a brother that passed away.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Sorry.
Trauma. I'm a walking wall of experiences. I could write a book. Everybody be laughing. I'm like,
let's go.
I could dead ass write a book, and it would probably be really dope. But so she made do with what she had with the background that she came from, and she doesn't give herself enough credit probably, and I should probably call her and give her some credit too, because she has strived and she's worked hard, to do right by us with what she had and what she knew. And I think, just talking about the love from our parents and how that has impacted us, like even though my mom didn't raise me, even though my dad didn't raise me, and I wasn't around them a lot, that drive, that ambition, that will to do what I gotta do and make it happen by any means necessary, definitely is from them. Like at the end of the day, they may not choose the most orthodox way of going about things.
It's just a different kind of lesson.
Yeah, it's a different kind of lesson. Like they gave me jewels indirectly that my grandmother could not have given me. Wow. They have given me life lessons in a different type of love that my grandmother could not give me. So,
but see, you're mature enough to I don't even want to say mature enough. You're wise enough to be able to look at it in that way, in that fashion, to be able to say, okay, even though, they weren't the best people or to each other, or they were toxic, and yes, they have all the drama, whatever, you're able to look at it not just for what it is, but you're trying to pull the good out of it, and you're learning from it. Like you said, you're analyzing, you're seeing, okay, well, they have that drive, they have that ambition, and you got something out of it no matter what. Now imagine all these people that just don't look at it that way, and they're hurt like
and I know them because like I said, I have a lot of siblings. I love my siblings. I'm not the greatest big sister in the world. I don't communicate as well as I could because I love y'all, but y'all be getting on my nerves sometimes. But they carry a lot of hurt. Yeah. They carry a lot of hurt. Where I can be like, at the end of the day, it's our dad. They're like, no, cuss him out.
Expect more. Yeah. And they're holding them to that fire.
They are, and they have so much anger and hurt. And then I see that anger and that hurt being carried out through how they love and how they accept love, or even what they will tolerate and deal with when it comes to relationships, and just how we tolerate and deal with each other, because of what they got from their parents, because most of us have different moms. So from what they have gotten from their parents and lack of a father, it impacts just the type of person they are. And I see that. And again, because I'm always analyzing, I have a different view on it. Yeah. But I will speak to them and speak to people like them. If you are carrying a lot of hurt and a lot of anger from your parents, you have the power in you to break that curse, that generational curse. You have the power in you to find a silver lining in every situation, because there is something always good there,
to learn.
I could have easily, and I laugh all the time, because it's not that I can empathize with people who have toxic parental relationships, and I can understand them, but I also can look at it and be like, so you just gonna sit here and continue to be angry and hurt other people, or are you gonna stop and are you gonna
do something about it?
Exactly, because I easily could have
fall into that. Yeah,
my mama wasn't around, because of my siblings who had their mom but didn't have their dad. They like to complain about our dad a lot, and like they will bash our dad. And I look at them like, okay, you had your mom though, right?
Wow.
Your mom was there though, right? You had somebody, right? Okay, you had your biological parent in your house with you growing up, right? Okay, so how about we focus on that positive and stop being so negative and angry all the time? Because
everybody's gonna think like that.
No, they're not. Because I didn't have either one of them. Yeah. And I could have still been angry, even though my grandma did the best she could to provide me the best life that she could, knowing that I was going to be that little girl walking to school on the first day, and I don't have a daddy coming. I don't have a mommy coming. I have a grandma, but and some kids that hurt them, but I had to choose. And you still, even as an adult today, you have to choose to let that hurt go and live that divine life of joy that you're supposed to have. It anger, bitterness, hurt, that's a choice.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like you have daddy issues? Because the hurt thing, okay, you're choosing not to dwell on that. Yes, maybe you are dealing with, in some degrees, level of hurt, whatnot. But like, how they say, okay, women who grew up with no fathers be having daddy issues. Like, what is
first off, I don't really understand daddy issues. What is that? So let me say that I can't, like, what is, how do they define daddy issues? Is it because this is when you hear daddy issues a lot. Every time you hear about a woman sleeping around and giving her body away, or having multiple kids because she's sleeping around, that's when you usually hear daddy issues being brought up,
or not knowing how to receive love.
Yes.
You know, pushing people. I mean, like, it's different levels to it.
It's so many different things. Pushing people away, tolerating abusive relationships.
Right? Because you want to be loved by this guy, but he's not giving you love.
So by that definition of it, I don't feel like I have daddy issues. Because I haven't found myself in any of those situations per se. But will I say that I feel like I could have been even wiser with my decisions about love?
Yes.
If my father was around? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and this might be where we can relate because your dad passed when you were younger.
Yeah.
There have been times where, you know, my dad a player to this day.
Out here in these streets.
In these streets to this day. I got a baby brother. He's like 4 or 5 now.
No
maybe.
way.
I got a baby brother. I have a brother old enough to be my child. Okay.
Wow.
So he in these streets. He belongs to the streets.
Shout out to Pops.
Mr. Bankhead in these streets. Okay. They hear the name Bankhead. They know. So, you know, but there have definitely been times where I feel like, man, maybe if my dad was around more, maybe I would tolerate a little less than what I have tolerated in the past. Not that I've never been in an abusive relationship, thankfully. Yeah. And not to discredit anybody that has, but I have not been in those relationships before. But I still think about times where I done got played, or I done let dudes sweet talk me and get in my ear. And I'm like, man, maybe if my dad was around, I would have been like, Dad, he told me.
Right. And he would have schooled
he was like, hey, don't, baby girl.
Put us all on game. Yeah. That's where I think, I don't think that I have like daddy issues in that sense of like how we were talking about
stereotypical sense. I feel like that's very stereotypical.
Right. Or, you know, like, I'm looking for love in all the wrong places, and like, thankfully, like the love that my mom has shown or my family has shown, I know what love should feel like, look like, and be. You know, was I young, dumb, and just immature? Yes, 100%. And, you know, made some unwise choices a few times. Okay, a few times. Your girl, then
you live and you learn.
You live and you learn. Okay, you move on. You pick yourself up and you move on. One thing I definitely will say is that, you know, my mom did a good job of making sure that she instilled in me to set a high standard, and that's the missing key. I think that we miss out on, you know, from the dad side not being there, is like, okay, how should a guy treat you? Or, you know, we don't get to experience that, see that with between our mom and dad, and, you know,
and I was gonna
witness love.
That is it, because, you know, and I've told my grandma this, because we have these very uncomfortable. They're comfortable, but they could be uncomfortable, because, you know, I know she did the best. Yeah. And I've told her, like, you know, I know you did everything you could to make me feel beautiful, to make me feel confident, to tell me, like, you don't have to settle for that. I was like, but honestly, we receive and perceive and respond to information depending on the source it's given to.
Right, 100%. Yes.
So hearing it from your mom, you like, okay, girl. All right, girl. Yeah, you just doing
but that guy, but the dad.
But to hear it from my dad, I probably would have been like, my daddy telling me
I'm beautiful every
day.
Right.
You telling me I'm beautiful?
Right.
I ain't trying to hear that. You know, like, this is the other day, maybe a week or so ago, my dad, because both of my parents are on my Facebook, and I posted a picture, and he responded back like, gorgeous or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I don't think my dad has ever directly told me, hey, you're beautiful. Oh, you're gorgeous. So hearing that from my dad, even as a grown woman, I'm just like, thank you, Dad. Yeah, it did touch me, because it's like, it means something. And I think as women, especially Black women, we try to downplay the role that a father can have in our life. And it's okay. It is okay to acknowledge that, I wish my daddy was there. I wish my daddy would have been around. You know, he was in and out for me, but I so deeply feel for my sisters, because he wasn't around as much for them, for some of them. And it hurts them to this day. I can see it in their relationships. I can see it in how they move, how they carry themselves, you know? So I do. And that
I can definitely see that. Like, my dad passed away, and I still feel like, dang, you know, I wonder what he would think in this moment. You know,
that other,
me getting married,
like
me getting married, and
that male perspective.
Right.
Like I feel like one thing, and this is, you might have this in common with me, because I didn't really have my dad around, but I did have an uncle. My uncle was there, and he was like, that was a chaperone. My grandma made him go on everything. She going to the zoo. You're going to the zoo with her. Because my dad was
the stand-in.
My uncle was a teenager too when I came in the house, so he was definitely like the big brother role. And he's young. I'm in elementary school. My uncle was probably just finishing up high school and stuff as I'm getting into school.
Yeah.
So like he's young, so you ain't working, you ain't doing nothing. Go with your niece. You go here and there. So my grandma was sending him everywhere. So I had him, but as I got into my more like young adult life, that's where you start developing kind of like those bros. Like you start developing those male friendships of guys that you can kind of confide in and trust. Ideally, hopefully, because y'all may be on some other stuff, having other ideas. But you start kind of getting those guy friendships too, to kind of like I don't want to say kind of compensate a little bit to give you that insight, because that's that insight that we would have sought from a dad if our fathers were around. So that's it. I don't think I have daddy issues, but I definitely I can understand women who do. Absolutely. And I definitely feel like I would be would have made some different decisions in my life if my dad was around.
Hell more. Yeah, I can definitely.
And it's crazy,
definitely say that.
It's definitely crazy because I feel like, and I don't know if you have you had this experience? And you guys at home, women, please chime in. As you have gotten older in your dating, have you had more men ask you about your relationship with your dad, or if your dad is around? Because that has been coming up in my adult dating now.
Really?
Yes. First off, y'all not gonna be psychoanalyzing.
Right. That's what I was just thinking. They're gonna try to make it seem like you have the daddy issues. Yeah. Right. No, I don't.
All because I'm 30 and single does not mean I have daddy issues. Maybe I'm just not trying to deal with y'all right now. But ladies, definitely chime in and let us know if that is something that has come up.
I don't ever remember being asked that ever.
Ever. No, it has
like, oh, are you close to your dad? Or, is your dad around in your life? Like, do you have an older brother? Like none of that. I don't have. Now, when I was growing up, when I was little, I was always around family, and I was always around, cousins and uncles and whatever. But my cousins definitely watched out. They definitely made sure.
Shout out to the male cousins and the uncles and stuff that step in. We appreciate
to the fam. But they always made sure, like, something happened. I remember my cousin Michael. Let's get into some classy ratchet real.
Classy ratchet and real.
This is like a little side, little style.
It's a preview.
Right. Then a quick story time. But I remember my cousin. I was riding a bike with my brother. That's what happened. I was riding a bike with my brother, and he was like ahead of us, whatever. So we playing around, and for whatever reason, like this older gentleman, I'm talking about he's older. He had to have been in his like 40s. He goes ahead and he grabs my bike. Like I was riding, a little behind, and my cousin was ahead. He was walking. So my cousin Mike, like, it couldn't have been, but like, I don't know, maybe 17, maybe. I'm not sure, but he couldn't have been older than 17. Okay. So the guy, for whatever, I guess because he saw a bunch of kids and he thought, causing too much ruckus, and we're on our bikes and just riding around in circles. So as he's walking, he just grabs a bike, like, like, hey, watch where you're riding, or something like that. And I'm like, all right, sorry, this is in South Africa. So I say, I apologize. I try to apologize or whatever. And he's like, no, you shouldn't be like riding too close to people. So I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to pull my bike away.
I'm leaving.
Yes, like, leave me alone. So he had like a walking stick. He had like it's almost like a whip, like legit a whip. I don't know why he was walking around with a whip, but it was definitely.
I don't think that's normal behavior in any country.
Well, South Africans have this particular. It's like it's like a whip. It's legit walking stick like a whip.
I
But
they walk stick, but
they walk around with it.
Okay.
So anyway, so he goes like he's about to hit me. So I yell, girl. I yell. My brother's like looking, like deer head caught in the headlights. Like, whoa, what's going on? The other kids then stopped playing. So I'm yanking my bike. He's looking like he wants to hit me. He's like cocking back the whip, like threatening me or whatever. So I go, Mike, I yell at my cousin. So my cousin turns back around and he's looking like, what the heck? So he briskly walks back and he's like, yo, what's going on? And, the guy's like, oh, she's riding her bike. And my cousin's like, she's a kid, all right, let her go. And the guy would not let my bike go. And my cousin stepped up to him like, yo, on some.
I was say, and I was about to get physical.
Yo, I'll never forget. He's like, yo, get off my cousin. And I don't know, like, I just thought he was like God, like, oh,
where would I be without you? Thank you so much, Mike.
Deadass. Deadass. I'll never forget that. And the guy, like, and he's an older gentleman. Mm-hmm. My cousin is young. And my cousin was skinny. He wasn't old, broad. He didn't have like, oh, this is a big dude that, might maybe could beat me up type of, but he looked very serious, and he's like,
oh, yes,
you're not about to
protective mode.
Yeah, like, I was very surprised. I was like, oh, you care about me? Because you know how cousins be. They're like, yo, get out of here, you little kid. Scram, beat it.
That's that I can message you, can't nobody else.
Right. That's really, so I remember that being like, I had that all around. Like my cousin Bruno was another one. He came here visiting. God rest in peace, because he passed away. That was my older cousin, and he I take him to the clubs. Him and his brother Tony came to visit, so I take him to the club downtown. I think it was like Taboo. Why was that Taboo, guys? That was before.
Now, honey.
I wasn't. We're not gonna talk about it anyway. So don't judge. Don't judge, guys. This is a long, long time ago. Okay. So I take them out, whatever. We're having a good time. We're drinking. I'm looking real cute, like, what I'm saying, single, ready to mingle. Hey. And I'm over here. The guy's watching me. I'm kind of dancing, and he's standing a little a ways or whatever, sipping on his Henny or whatever he was drinking on. And I'm dancing, and here, like, the guys just roll up and start trying to dance, and they don't like ask you, hey, do you want to dance or whatever. They just saunter up and start trying to dance. So I guess he did that. In 2.5 seconds, my cousin was, hey, like,
and
back up.
Those are the things that are so beneficial that I feel it's great to have those male cousins.
He was kind of blocking that second, though. I was just like,
you don't know. You didn't give him the eye, like,
it's okay, right?
The eye, yeah.
Like, bro, it's cool. It's cool. Like, no, he was like, and even when I said no, it's all right. Like, don't get, because he was like he was a fighter. He had the presence of, I will knock your behind. You know what I'm saying? I will knock your shit off. Like, back up. Yeah, he was the one, and he when he rolled up the guy's face, though, I'll never forget. It was like, well, damn, I think he thought that was my boyfriend, but it really, he that's what I think. Right. Go. Blocking. But anyways, side notes, just to give examples of, like, protective
that protective male energy.
Yes.
That is needed.
Yes, because they, my family at least did that. So I didn't ever feel like, oh, I knew what, like, having a good male role model look like, because of them, because of my uncle, and that raised me. So it was okay, even though my dad wasn't around, but I still miss him. Like, I just, walking down the aisle, like, my dad,
big one.
My dad wasn't there. That was my brother that did that. But I still thought about him, like, what would he think right now? Absolutely. To see his little girl, getting married, or when I graduated, or when I had heartbreaks. What wise words would he impart on me to help me get through it? Because my mom can say whatever she says, but you know, like you said, a male, from a male's perspective, and somebody that you can maybe look up to, that's entirely different. So in that aspect, I can see how we might be missing something, but I don't think that even when it's missing, that it's detrimental to us not being able to love or not being able to express love. And
which leads me to the next question that you had on there, which would be, how do you feel like the relationship you have developed or you have with your mom has impacted your understanding of love now?
I feel like she did her best to, you know, like I said, show me what love is. You know, I think her love has served me well, because even though, yes, it was coming from my mom or whatever, essentially the essence of like love and what like good relationships are, you know, she instilled that in me, and she would have conversations with me to say, hey, you know, you don't let a man, you know, talk to you no type of way, or you don't let no man, you know, act crazy out here, or whatever it is. And even with friendships, not even just on a romantic level, but like on a friendship level, she definitely is a wise person, because she knew the friends that were like no good, and the friends were, I'm like, no, mom, she's nice, they're nice.
How do they know that?
I don't know, but they got that, you know, it's experience.
I'm like, do y'all really know, or do y'all just wait for something to go bad and be like, I told you. I was waiting on it to happen. Like, do y'all? We're gonna find out when we have kids. We'll find out. We'll know. I feel like it just comes to you like now.
Nah, Elizabeth got the juice. I will say she be knowing, because she would sit there and be like, I don't think you should just hang out with those people. And she, for whatever reason, there was nothing that they did around her, because they would act like, you know, grade A children. And then later on, I find out, she compete. Right. It's that like, they're great. That wise eye.
It is
that wise eye. You know. How about you? Like, how do you feel?
In my case, I definitely feel like they have given me a great understanding of love. First, my grandma showed me love.
Yeah.
So I know unconditional love because she has given me unconditional love. She continues to give me unconditional love.
Yeah.
So I got that component of love from her, and then from my parents, I learned more so from their mistakes, if that makes sense. Like from my mom, I learned how I will not allow a man to treat me because I've seen how she has allowed a man to treat me. From my dad, I learned how I will not allow a man to treat me because I saw how he has treated women, you know? So I learned from them, just from their experiences.
Yeah.
And that has helped to shape my understanding of love. I say all the time, my parents are probably for a fact the reason why I do not have a child right now.
Yeah.
It is absolutely positively my parents, because at the age of like 4, and it's like most people, when I tell them, they're like, you are making that up. But no, my grandma told me, she was like, at 4 years old, I came to her and was like, which is really sad when I said
at 4,
kind of sad. But at 4, I asked her, like, can I get my tubes tied? And she was like, no, baby. Like, why would you want that? You're not old enough.
How did you even know what that is?
I was a very inquisitive, very smart child. Like, I was very, like,
oh my God,
ahead of myself. And I was around adults all the time. I was the only one in the house. So it was just me, my grandma, my uncle, and then the adults that come over.
So you was listening.
So I was listening.
You was nosy.
I was very nosy. I learned the art of shut up and listen. Just be quiet like a fly on the wall. You'll hear everything. So I heard
literally like a fly on the wall, just listening.
Like my aunt has like gotten her tubes tied after my younger cousin was born, and I've heard discussions, and I could put 2 and 2 together. So at 4, I'm like, can I get my tubes tied? And she's like, well, why would you want your tubes tied? And she said that I told her, I don't want to have a baby that I can't take care of. Which ties back to the fact that my mom and dad had a baby that they cannot take care of, and I don't want to do that. I never want to have a baby that I can't take care of.
People, do you hear this at 4?
Like, it had stuck to me. Like, I refuse. Like, when I talk to men, if I'm dating, if I'm, you know, we're going to be intimate, I let them know right now, hey, listen, I'm not. Yeah. First off, I'm pro-choice all the way, but for me, I'm not giving up a baby.
Right.
For 2, you with me, you're with me. So you better be sure that you like all this crazy that you about to get.
Right, that comes along with it.
This will be
the highs and the lows.
Yeah, I don't want my child to grow up, in a divided home. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a lot of y'all are killing this co-parenting game.
Yeah.
But for me, and because of my experiences, and because of my background, I don't want that for my child. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't want it for my child, So they have taught me a lot about love, and they definitely have a great impact on how I love, how I receive love. And like I said, even my friendships, how I navigate the world and who I'm going to deal with and who I'm not going to deal with. And all of that goes back to my understanding of love from my parents and my grandma. So absolutely.
And family,
all of that, man.
Throw them in there.
And family.
But like, do you guys see how kids are they're legit when they say kids are sponges? They're legit sponges. We are sponges because we will sit there and be listening, and we sit there and listen and learn, because I learn things too, but from being around, adult conversation,
grown folks business,
right? Just listen.
Supposed to be in here.
Why are you here?
Right. How long you been standing there? Y'all can see me. Yes.
Dead ass.
Room.
Dead ass. But that's crazy. Like, when you think, oh, they're not paying attention, or they don't realize they're too little. They're not gonna remember this argument that I'm having or whatever. And that's indeed not true. Like, they do. It stays clearly, because at 4, I'm astounded that you even.
At 4, I asked for my tooth tied, and then I never. I'm like, when my grandma told me the story, like the first time we talked about it or whatever, like I'm laughing, like, I asked for my tooth tied. Oh, who says that? And then when she told me my reason why, I'm like, wow, that's deep. That is deep. I'm like, yo, that is deep.
Now that you know.
And now for me to be 30, and like, again, there's nothing wrong with abortions. There's nothing wrong with, being pregnant. If you've been pregnant before, I'm never, ever, ever, ever gonna bash a woman for her body, her choice, whatever. But I've even been asked, like, oh, so, like, have you ever had, like, being pregnant or had any slip-ups? I'm like, nah. Like, nah. Yeah. Like, when you set your mind on something and you determine that that's not going to happen, that's not the way you're going to let it go down, it does not go down that way. And I've known since I was little, like, I am not going to have a child that I cannot make sure it has that love from both parents in one household. Like, because I know not having that love from both parents in one household, how it has affected me and shaped me. Yeah. And, not in a bad way, but it just makes you look at things so much differently. Yeah. My perspective on it. But no, I think I have a very well-rounded outlook on love overall, because like my grandma, she was that saving grace. She was the saving grace. Okay.
You the real MVP.
She is. She came in and like really built me up. Like, she would buy me Valentine's Day gifts all the time, and just make sure always
that you were feeling that love.
Yeah, that was big for her, to make sure that I felt that love.
Guys, if you have a, regardless of what relationship you have with your parents, or if you do have a good relationship with your parents, whoever it was that has stepped in and like showed you love, like, take a moment and just be like, you know what? I appreciate you. I love you so much for all the sacrifices that you made and all the things that you did for me when you necessarily didn't maybe need to. Yeah. And just take that moment, because like I said, like we go through life. They did so much that we don't even realize how it affected them and what sacrifices they really, really had to make. One thing that my mom did was always have conversations with me and my brother, and we were always aware of like the strains of like, financially, if we weren't in a good position at that time, or she was very transparent. And what that did is like, it helped us grow up knowing a lot of responsibilities, like grown up responsibilities. And you would think it would be stressful for a kid, and in some cases it might, but for my brother and I think it just brought clarity. And we worked as a team, as opposed to us feeling entitled, or us feeling like
one unit.
100%. And because of that, we grew closer and stronger, and we helped each other out, and so we were able to help each other. Whereas if if my mom hadn't said anything necessarily, it was just been all on her and all on her shoulders. And I'm sure it would have been overwhelming. And it was still overwhelming because it was still her, but it was still just her. But I
imagine it helped her better love you guys too, though, because she wasn't completely alone in it.
Yeah, yeah. And it was cathartic, I think, too. I mean, it puts a lot. You would think I'd be mad or angry, like, hey, you're putting so much on us, like me as the adult. Let's go ahead and get into Classy, Ratchet, and Real for real now.
Real. Here we go. I was going to say, it's about that time.
It is about that time. Because I have story time, or this ties into the official story time, because I just gave you guys 2 stories before. But so yeah, my mom moved here by herself, and raised us here in the U.S. by herself. And we don't have family around, and so she was here like single parent, trying to like in a new country. Amazing. Yeah, barely. I mean, she spoke English, but she wasn't as fluent, and just navigating a whole new world. And it was in New York. It was tough. It was hard. Okay. Yeah. And she struggled, but she always kept a roof over our heads. I always had food on the table. Yep. Never went to sleep hungry or all of that. We always were clothed. You looked at us and you were like, oh yeah, that's straight. But that wasn't the case. Yeah. In the house. Right. And she would have these conversations, and she would tell us what was going on. And I would try to find ways to help her or appease her in some way. And like I said, we moved as a unit. I'm not angry with her for telling me or kind of like exposing me to so much so little, because some people might be like, wow, that's very traumatic. And you were so young and you didn't get to have a childhood. Like how do you get? I don't necessarily look at it like that, because I saw the sacrifices that she was making in real time for me and my brother. So when I try to make sure that the house was clean and she didn't have to worry about that was okay. When I made sure my brother was doing his homework and he wasn't getting in trouble at school, I would tell him, tell me, don't tell her. So just not to stress her out. Yep. That was okay. When I started working at 14 years old, so I could just have a little pocket money and wouldn't rely on her having to give me money, that was okay. And it wasn't a lot, but she still talks about that till this day. She's like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you were buying your brother clothes so he could go to school. And
because I feel like, just tying it into like this discussion of that love, because you did see what she was doing for you out of love. She was sacrificing out of love. Sacrifices out of love, and you wanted to pour back into her. You were willing to make those 100% sacrifices out of love, and that's why you don't view it as a burden. A burden, because this is love. Yeah, that's what she taught you. That this is what love looks like, and it was healthy because you're communicating. Right. She's talking.
She never asked me like, oh, you need to. She wasn't like, you need to do. I did that all on my own, and she was like, oh wow, like one last thing I have to stress about. Thank you, or you don't. And she would say, you don't have to do that, and I'd be like, no, I'm good. Like I'm still bringing in, good grades, and it's fine. It's not gonna interfere with anything else that I'm doing. Like. She's like, all right, well, if that's cool with you and you want to, and she gave me that ownership of like, me treating me like an adult, not in a, I don't want people to look at it like, oh, she puts too much on you, on me. She allowed me to grow into whatever I was becoming naturally, and she would definitely check me or say, no, you can't go here or you can't do this. She drew a line, but she also allowed me. She trusted me. She trusted me and trusted my judgment, and that helped me mature fast. And honestly, that's part of why I think also I don't like I can peep game with dudes, or I can like that street smart. I grew up fast, but I learned well too, just like how you observe.
That's what I'm saying. I can absolutely relate to everything you're saying, because me and my grandma, she never is that, she calls it that baby talk. She's not a baby talk type of person. She'll give it to you real. Gonna give it to you real. You got to be able to handle that. So because that's how I grew up, at a young age, it was, do you want to go with your dad? do you want to go with your mom?
Gave you that choice.
She gave me those choices. She put it out on the table. This is your life. This is the reality that we live in. Now, how do you want to navigate it? And that's similar to what you got.
Yeah.
This is where we at, guys. This is how we moving. I just want to let you guys know.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And that's opposed to how.
I'm your mama though. You don't respect me.
And that's opposed to how other moms will be like, oh no, you can't go with your dad because he doesn't come around. Or grandmother's even like, oh, I'm sheltering you, or I'm shielding you from hurt, or you don't have to be around all. No, she's allowing you to experience it as it is, and that's it. Your life. And if she saw that something was out of hand, she would have immediately stepped in.
And she did. And she was bad. I told you when she was telling my dad, no, she's not going with you no more because you be out here in these streets with the baby.
Calm down. Right.
No.
But that's the kind of love that I feel like I got. That has been instrumental in my life. It has given me strength for me to be able to navigate as an adult and know, not only right from wrong or make decisions, wisely. And even like, because again, my dad passed away. He actually passed away the same year we moved here. So I remember the last conversation I had with him. He was like, I'm not always going to be around. You need to take care of your mom and your brother. You need to step up and you need to, watch over them. Your mom can't be having to worry about you and what you're doing. You need to be.
He lets you know.
Pull yourself together, girl. And, make sure you take care of your brother. Make sure you take care of your mom. That's literally the last conversation that I had with my dad over the phone. I was 12 and I was here. He was overseas. He was in Africa. And that has stuck to me to my core which I think without even realizing subconsciously, that also kind of pulled me to what can I do to help my mom? What can I do to help my brother? And that kind of those are my marching orders all through up until now, those have been my marching orders from my dad. And I hope I did him justice, but that just, even though he wasn't present, he wasn't around, that's the love he always had for us. I knew he cared about my mom. I knew he cared about me. He cared about my brother. He always wanted to look out for us. And so, that's my,
is it classy?
I think it's super classy and real. As per the norm, I normally stick to classy and real.
And then I'm going to come bring the ratchet. Y'all know.
No, I'm going to have to come up with a ratchet story next time.
We in that thing. We here. Bank cats in the house. What up?
Okay, so she's going to have the toxic.
I'm going to let you. Very toxic. How you want it? I will let you pick. So I have the time I ran away at 16.
Oh, gosh. She has a number. She has a couple, guys.
I have the time me and my dad almost fought.
Oh, let me hear that one.
The time me and my dad almost fought. Oh, we almost threw them things. Hands. Like, threw them things. Okay. So I was 16.
Come on, Bob. What's going on?
Surprisingly, I don't have daddy issues, right?
Even though we try to blow blows.
Right. I be trying to fight him, but this happened only one time. So I was 16 and one of my friends was at the house and I think we were getting ready to go to the mall and go to Applebee's or something like that. And at 16, I had two cell phones. I had one, I think I was paying for.
Find out you was a little trapper?
I thought I was.
Oh my God.
I had two phones. And I think I was paying for one or both. I think I was paying for one, and I think either my grandma was paying for the other one or my biological mom was paying for the other one. But I had two. So my dad just happened to be at our house, at me and my grandma's house. He happened to be there for whatever reason. I think he was in between places or something like that. I don't know why he was there, but he was there, and I was kind of annoyed by him because I'm like, you overstaying your welcome now, leave. Why are you here? Are you irritating?
Look at you.
So I already had a little attitude towards him for probably no reason. Now I'm older. I'm like, yo, low key, you didn't have no reason to have attitude with that man. You just was picking to be picking.
Being a teen.
So exactly, being a typical teenager. So he's like, asking like that. Have I seen his phone? And that's what he asked me, and I took that as an opportunity to just for lack of a better word, shit on his life. And I'm just like, why would I know where your phone is? I got 2 phones. Like, oh, why would I know where your phone is? And he just like, oh, he just went off. Like, you didn't have to do all that. You can chill out with all that. And we just going. Like, we are arguing with each other. Just da-da-da-da. And my dad is the reason why I will never put my hands on a man. Because my dad will put his hands on a woman.
Oh, wow.
Quick, fast, in a hurry. He don't care. You swing at him, you don't swing if you ain't trying to get knocked out. Because he's going to swing back. Okay? So I don't believe that men should not put their hands on women. No, men will put their hands on women.
Some of them will, unfortunately. Yes.
So my dad is that man. He will hit you. I know this about my dad because I've not experienced personally, but I've seen it. So I don't put my hands on men. Don't put your hand on me either, because I feel like you touch me now, I got the right to hurt you severely. Right. So we arguing to the point where like my friend is like trying to pull me away. They trying to separate us because he like now he just started calling me out my name. Oh no! And I'm like calling him out his name, and we just at it. I done went in the kitchen, tried to grab a knife. My uncle done came.
You ready to stab me?
Oh, I can't fight him.
Just like I need reinforcement.
I can't fight him. I'm gonna stab him. and I'm going to jail because I'm gonna start to try to stab him in the neck or something.
Oh my God!
It was over. Like it was. We was. You were on both 10. Scorpios. Yeah. We're both Scorpios. We're on 10. Oh we geeked up. Like we're at it. So we ended up being separated. Like my uncle, like.
Thank God.
My uncle came. He separated us because my grandma's in the way, trying to yell, stop it. And me and my dad have buddy heads over the years when I was like younger and stuff too. Like he was like, I remember one time him and my brother was playing my video game. I'm the problem. I am the problem.
I'm glad you realized. You know.
I love to start stuff. I love to start stuff with him. I love because I don't look at my dad like a dad. I look at him like a brother. So I would just come and like do stuff just to be like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You can't hit me. So girl, that's what it was.
And this man will hate you.
He never has. My dad never put his hands on me. Like thankfully, because I'd be like, I wish you would put your hands on me. Ooh, we gonna fight. So I'm a problem. So yeah, that's how that situation went, and we ended up just not talking to each other for a while. Like I'm not apologizing to him. He the grown up. He should act better. He's supposed to be a dad.
Very mature.
I'm not saying anything, but he ended up apologizing a little bit later. Like I'm sorry. You are forgiven, peasant. Just kidding, Dad. I love you. But no, like that was a ratchet.
Yeah, that's scary because it could have really went left.
It could have went left. Oh, it would have.
God forbid somebody else get hurt.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I'm like, I'm worried about my grandma. Like she's trying to stop us and stuff, and we all arguing and fighting, just being ghetto. Just ghetto. Ooh, we should be ghetto. But yeah, no, we're good now. Like me and my dad are good now, and. Like I have said before, like he's been trying to come around a little bit more. It's just kind of weird because I'm like, I'm grown now. I don't necessarily need a dad, but it's cool. Like I'm glad, we can message here and there, like he'll write on my Facebook and stuff like that. And I also feel like for me, at least because of how my parents are and because of who they are, I have to bump heads with them to for us to like, cause they were so young and they are immature, it's kind of like that test of power. Like, hey, don't try me. You gonna respect me and I'm gonna respect you. Cool. All right, cool.
Toxic.
It is toxic. It is so not normal. That's not a normal relationship. But I've gotten into it with my mom. Like me and my biological mom, we didn't get into blows. Like we didn't come to fighting. Me and my dad were way worse than me and my mom, because my dad can handle stuff a little bit better than my mom. My mom was like super sensitive. So me and her got into it, and I didn't cuss her out or anything like that, but I let her have it. Like,
let me try to come at Elizabeth like that.
And I just let her know she's not gonna talk to me crazy. Like, if I'm gonna respect you, you're gonna respect me, and that's how we're gonna do this. Or you're not gonna talk to me no more.
Yeah, my mom is African. She's little, but like, the look that parents give you, and like maybe for you that
my grandma, but my grandma can give me that, and even
I would never. I need to navigate, tread lightly. I still have to watch my words. We'll have conversations as adults, and we'll maybe disagree, but I would never raise my voice. I would never like call her out her name.
My grandma, no.
There are rules of engagement that you cannot. There's a line. There's a clear line.
And daddy, I'm gonna show them I'm their child. How y'all want to do this? Y'all want to get ignorant, or y'all want to act like we got some sense? Because I got to meet them where they at. I got ignorant. I got to meet them where they at. Okay, you gotta know how to manage people. Okay, right. So when it comes to them, right? Like I said, we're better now. We are so much better now because they're getting older too. And they're looking at things differently. Yeah. And no shade to my other siblings, but I'm one of the ones that kind of got a stable heading going on. So it's like, ideally, they're getting older, and I love them. I'm gonna take care of them. I'm gonna be there for them. They drive me crazy, but that was we get ratchet. And
so guys, let us know if
I know I'm not the only one out there with ratchet experiences with their parents.
Right. If the experience that you've had with your parents have served you, like the relationships that you have, if they serve you positively or negatively towards you learning how to like express love, receive love, and all of that, how has that worked out for you? Because for me, I think I've been okay. Nia, not so much. Sounds like
I'm good.
She's good, but friend, what? Can't be taking knives to people, okay?
That was a long time ago.
Okay, good. We've grown, I was an angry child at one point, though. But I don't know. I didn't know what that was about. But I was like very, very short-tempered. And when you say,
if it counts for anything, before we got into it, this was when I was 16 too. When I ran away to my daddy's house. And then he turned me into my grandma. I was
go back.
That's probably why I wanted to try to fight her. Bro, I thought you had my back.
Selling out.
You gonna call her?
Right, you're selling out.
Disappointment. I trust you.
But yeah, we gonna take it as relationships with our parents definitely have a saying and an effect on how we interact with the world, for sure. Not just with our parents, but yes, they do set that real foundation, and it could either go right or go left. You could have a good one or have a toxic one. And just because you started off toxic doesn't mean
stay that way.
For real, like take a page from Nia's book and try to look at it from a positive perspective or see what you can learn from the situation.
Remember, it's okay if you are like me and you had parents that weren't quite ready to be parents yet, and it has impacted you in a negative way. Please remember, or it is impacting you in a negative way. Please remember that it is okay to love people from a distance. Right. I love my parents. Just don't think for a second that I don't love my parents. I will go to bat for my parents. I just love my parents from a distance. My relationship with my parents just doesn't look how Stefany's relationship with her mom looked, or how other people's may look. I have friends who have mom and dad in the house. My relationship don't look like theirs, but I love my parents nonetheless. I love them from a distance because that's what works for us, and that's how we have a healthy relationship.
And some of y'all might have both, and it's still a cold like relationship. Even still, they may have raised you together, and they were there. They maybe were around, but maybe weren't present in the good way of the sense, right, where you felt the love. So they were there, but they were cold, and they weren't expressive. So it's just it can go either way, but definitely we were laughing about her arguments with her dad or her mom and whatnot, but it's a serious thing. Don't we want to make light of those situations where people are really struggling with it and like maybe hurt or are in a real potentially dangerous toxic relationship. Like, seek out help if you can, or reach out to somebody that you can talk to about those things, and
know it's okay. Like I said, I just want to emphasize that, because I do hear a lot of times where people are like, but that's my mom or that's my dad. That's okay. And it is okay to walk away until they're ready. My parents had a lot of growing up to do. They had a lot of growing up to do for us to be where we are today. So it is okay. Me and my mom legit didn't talk for like a year. When I say no contact, I could not have contact with her because she had some growing still to do to get to a place where we could have a healthier relationship. So please understand that, like, it's okay to take a step back for your own mental health, for your own, happiness. Yeah. To take a step back from that parent and get yourself together.
What's your biggest lesson? Besides being okay.
My biggest lesson, I guess, when it comes to love and what I've learned from my parents, when it comes to love, is to take people as they are. I have to take my parents as they are. They're mine. And I have to take people as they are. Friendships, relationships, take people as they are.
Yeah. And when they show you who they are, believe them. But my biggest lesson from all of this is that everyone has a different way of loving, again, I had maybe I could say a better experience than Rania did, but I've seen, I've experienced toxicity, and you just have to learn people or love people where they're at, meet them where they're at, right? Meet them where they're at. And so in talking about, okay, it's okay to love them from a distance and realize that that's not the end of it. Whatever Absolutely. You're experiencing, you don't have to sit there and take it if you don't like it. You can remove yourself from it, sure, like we said, but you are in control of your happiness, mm-hmm. and you are in control of the love that you are able to give and receive. Yes. Remember that, like, just because you didn't get love or you got so much love, mm-hmm. like, you are in control of the type of love that you put out there into the world. So that's my biggest lesson, guys. All right. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Another good one. I think this was really, really awesome.
This is good. I needed this as a nice little session. This is really good, though. No, for real. And I hope that, we were able to really touch some people and leave you all with, give you some laughter, but leave you guys with some good gems to think about as well.
As always. All right, guys. You want to go ahead and give them your handles?
Yes, for sure. You guys can follow me on Instagram and all social media, basically, at Nia, that's NIA_AUDRI. Feel free to, hit me up if you have any questions or you do need any advice on parents or anything like that. Feel free to always hit me up. And of course, ladies, don't forget to get your body beads, your waist beads, BE body beads. That's BE.YOU. Body beads.
That's it. Ooh. All right. And the GrownupIsh Podcast is the page on IG, the GrownupIsh on Twitter, the GrownupIsh Pod is the website. Go ahead and follow, request, subscribe, share, like, all of the above. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us. And all right, guys. Bye.